Hello, this is Dr. Tillis, and I will review Chapter 11, Case Problem 1, Kelly's Boutique for Access. So, this week you were supposed to complete the exercise in the textbook, SOUP, all the steps for the case SUP. And once you've done that, you should be able to get started with this assignment. And so to begin, just remember that I mentioned in a previous video that for access, you have to complete correctly all the steps in each assignment because some of these follow-up assignments relate to what you've completed previously. So are based on that, you're building up this database based on previously entered information. So make sure that chapter 10 is correct because you will have to use that to continue and begin working on chapter 11 case problem. So that's your first step. You open up the chapter 1003 your name file. And then let me just try to put my content here. All right, and then you are asked to modify your tables a little bit. So for example, for the book table, in the book table, you are asked to add a field named quantity. And then so you select the book table, you access the design view, and then I just clicked in one of the rows and added quantity. It's asking you as data type to put the number. All right, and then go and once you've done that, you save it, and then you change the views again to go in data sheet view and add content on that column that appears on the quantity column. So you enter all these numbers. So for me, I just went and sorted by alphabetically. That was easier in order to be able to match those numbers, but you got to make sure that is correct in your case because, for example, here, for whatever reason, the cat in the hat came before the notebook, but Hop Pop was right before. So as you see, the order is a little bit different from what you got listed in the textbook. So just make sure you enter the correct quantity for each record. All right, and then similarly, you are asked to add another field in the department table. Okay, so just make sure you read the instructions up to the end because this is a different table you have to open. So I have to go to my department table. I did the same thing and added the markup, okay, field. And in this case, however, I'm going to switch my view so you can see. You are asked to enter data type number as a data type, but then you're also asked to enter some other details here in this column, which are field properties, right? So it's asking you to enter decimal as field size, percent as format, scale, 2, and decimal places 0. So once I've done that, again, you save it and then you navigate to the data sheet view and enter 100% markup for the adult type books, and then for the children genre you put 50%. All right, and then you start to work on the points asked. So it's a series of queries that you'll be creating. So now I'm done here. I'm just going to close my tables and I am going to save everything, right? And then I went and created my first query already here. I'm going to just show you how to do that. You basically go and click create, and then you go to the query design form, okay, and you've add your tables here, um, whichever tables that you're going to use for the query, and then select the fields from the tables, and then you run the query when you're done. Okay, I'm just gonna close this for now, and I'm going to show you how my query A looks like. So I keep on going between the datasheet view and the design view. Okay, so I was in design view and datasheet view. This is my final result. Is basically you are asked to create, forget about the print, you don't have to print here in this case, you just create a query that lists the author and book title for all the books written by a specific author. Okay, so I have the author, and that's Rowling, that's what you've been asked. And then it's asking you to list the title. Okay, and then save this query as chapter 11, Kelly's Case A. Okay, and to do that, again, I showed you how I clicked on create, I went to query, you select your tables, and in this case all of the information I have is listed in a book table. I have the book title and I have the author, so I don't need to add more than just the book table to that query. So here I'm going back to this again, and I'm going to switch the view. So you see I only have this book table, okay, because everything that I need is in here. So I have the author, and then so once I added the book, I went up here and I selected the field author, and then I selected the book title. That's all I need. I asked in the query, I selected, I wanted these fields to show, okay, and then I put the criteria like Rowling. That's what I wanted to show up. Okay, select to be selected from all of the records in the book table. So in the and then I had click run, and then I, of course, once I got the results, I had to save it, and then a save, you know how to do that. You just click save, and then it'll prompt you to put a name to name it. Okay, so that's that. That's quite easy. You just have to pay attention to all of the details carefully, because in some cases it's going to be a bit more complicated. You're gonna probably not select all of the fields to show, and then various other criterias might be a little bit more complicated. And I'm gonna go through the whole list after I'm gonna show you, pause, and then I'm going to show you how all of my criterias have been set. So now that I have completed query 1A, case A, I'm going to show you what I entered in case B. All right, so in case B, you are asked to create a query that lists the book title, okay, and author for all the books purchased and supervised by Rexford Merlot. And so here in this case, let me go to the design view. You look at your tables and you notice that I'm gonna change these things a bit here. You look at your tables and then you see in the book table, you do not have a field that mentions the supervisor, okay? So that means, okay, think about what do I need to include in this? I need to include a title, I need to include the author, and then the supervisor. So I have the title and the author in the book table, but I don't have the supervisor. So that means when I create a query, I'm gonna have to click on add tables, because I don't have everything in the one table, okay? So I would have to add the book table and which one was it? The department table, okay, in this query here. So you just drag them, okay? And I mean, you can move them around, of course. See, all right, I'm just gonna close this and I'm not gonna save this. So I just want to show you how it's done. All right, so you brought these two tables here, and then of course, like I showed you before, you just add the book title. That's what you're asked. You put the author and the supervisor, okay? And it's asking you to sort in ascendant order. You can do that once you save it. And what else? Ascending order by book title, and save this as chapter 11 Kelly case B before you print it. So it's not asking you to show the supervisor, so that is why here I did not want to click on show, because I just want these two fields, book title and author, to be visible. And then so this I wanted to just be set up in the background. So I did mention as criteria the name of the supervisor, and then saved it as case B, and came here and I said, well, it has to be in ascending order by book title. So I go here and I said ascending order A to Z, and then so here we are. And these are all of the books and author with their authors that are under that supervisor. I hope this makes sense. I'm going to move on to case C. And you can play with this. Okay, let me just pause. I'm going to pause and plug my computer, and it looks like it's losing battery. Okay, so back to query case C. You are asked to create a query that lists the book title, the list price for all book titles that start with Harry. Save this and as case C. So book title, list price for all the books that start with Harry. Okay, so when I look at the design view, I see that again, I have all of the information I need in the book table. I just put book title, list price. I want them to show on the query, and then like Harry. And again, you run it, you save it, and you got 3 books. Okay. Case D, similarly. I'm going to modify just for a better visibility here. You see, you can play around. This is D. It says edit the query you just created, add fields for author and for publisher, and delete the list price field. And then change the criteria from starting with Harry to containing the word secrets, and is asking you to place a wildcard character in front and of behind the word. All right, so here is what I have created. I have the book title, I have author and publisher, okay? And then you're asked to change the criteria from starting with Harry to containing the word secrets. So I changed the criteria All right. And I don't know if you can see this, placing that wildcard character. And then I save this query as case D. And let's see what we got in a data sheet view. We got the book titles. Okay. It contains the word secrets. So we have secrets, and there's two. So my query changed from what it was, Harry, to the one that contains secrets. Okay, case E. In design view, create a query that lists the book title. So we have the book title, publisher, let's say publisher, contact person, and phone number for all books with a list price greater than $20. Okay, so I put the contact in here, phone. Again, I have the book tape and the publisher taper for all of this. I have all of that information there. And then I have the list price in the book table. And then here I have to mention that is greater than $20. So under criteria, I put it here. I don't want to necessarily show that. I just want a list of these books. So I'm not going to make it show that list price. So when I go and look in the datasheet view, I have 4 books with a price greater than $20 and the contact and the phone numbers for that contact. All right. So similarly, all of these queries have these criterias. Case F, you see again a list price between two numbers in ascending order. Okay. Case G, here is the descending order. Oh, where did it go? Okay, so it's a retail value list price times the quantity in descending order. Let's see what that means in case G. It's asking for a computed field equal to list price multiplied by quantity sorted in descending order by retail value. Okay, so you chose the field retail value and created this computed field. And then you said, I want to sort it in descending order. And I want it shown. So that's what you get. Okay. So that's the highest price, and then it sorts down to the least expensive. Okay, case age. Similarly, you have some other computed fields. Let's make it larger. Okay, so for the unit cost, you're asked to compute list price. Let's see, where is that? It's on age. So it's asking you to, for unit cost, it's a computed field list price divided by 1 plus markup. And then cost is another computed field unit cost times quantity. Okay, so you have this done, 1 plus markup, unit cost times quantity. What else? And it's asking you to sort it in ascending order by the book title. Okay. And you have the book table and department table. Then you have case H1. Okay, same book table, department table, ascending order, another computed field. It looks like that was the previous one. And then unit cost time quantity. Okay, then it says another query, that's this one. Okay, Cage, sorry. Here, let's see, this is a bit big. Let's make it smaller. We only have one record here. Let's see what it was. So you use this query, H, to create this query. So it's a query based on another query. Okay. So it sums the total costs of the book inventory. So it tells you that you just created import at H as your source for this new query and use the currency format. So you save that query and then you use that basically. So you use that as a table and you use the cost and then you just sum it up. And you want to see that. So you just see the cost. That's it. Okay. For J, you use a table H1 grouped by sum. Okay. And you get adults genre. The sum for all of the adults books is $279.43, and for all children's books are $660.30. So you can see how these types of tables can be very, very useful. So for K1, case K1, again, use the book table, ascending order, very basic. And you got the books and the list price. And here you can look it up on case, let's see, L. You created a parameter query that lists your book from a particular publisher. And the query should ask enter publisher's name. Okay, and that's what it is, enter parameter. And then list the publisher book, title, and quantity for that publisher, and save it as case L. So when you look at the parameter query in the design view, you will see here that I have the publisher table, the book table, and then I entered here enter publisher's name. So then that will be, you'll be prompted to enter that. I'm gonna close it. Let me close all these. All right, case N. Similarly, another table, book table, again used, fields used our book title quantity and descending order by quantity to be viewed both. I'm sorry, here, data sheet. and then you got that. So for case K, you are asked to create and run an update query that increases all books list price by 5%. So in this case, this has been created already. You get a warning saying, hey, if you run this query, you will be updating all the data in your table, in the book table. So to do that, I do go to the top tab, create, design query. I choose my tables, and all of that I need is in the book table. And I double click on the list price, and then I say, well, I don't need cross, I need an update table, right? And then to do that, I create, run. Okay, let me see. Is the list price, criteria. So I have to put it here, update to, what do I want to update the list price, this field? I want to update price times 1.05, which is an increase of 5%. And then I click on run, and then okay. And then it's letting me know again that I'm about to update 14 rows. And I can say, yeah, okay, go ahead and update it. And then I can go and save it, again, this query as your case K. And then if you go back to the book table, you would, once you close it and you save it, I'm not going to save this one. But if you come here, that is why is saying, hey, you want to sure you run this type of action, because this is going to change all of the information you got in your table. So in this case, I'm just going to leave it now. All right. So once you run a query like that, then you can go back to the book table and look, hey, to see if the price has been changed from what it was there previously. All right. So this is a video. It's a bit long, but I just want to give you run over how these queries are created. I believe this was already created from last chapter, and you can take a look here. It's a form, and then you also have another form, case A, and then so you have some information here. But just make sure you complete these queries correctly as we move forward, and then keep everything updated. If you made errors, I provided some check your work screenshots in your assignment. Just make sure that you go back. If you made errors, just make sure you go back and fix it. Like I said, again, I can't stress it enough. Your weekly work is gonna connect to the next week's work. You want to have the database really clean and learn all these steps. It's a quite powerful tool. All right, so with all that, I am gonna close this video here, and feel free to reach out if you have questions.